Hey Coogs, welcome back to another great episode here on CoogsTalk, as we have a very special episode here today. As if you guys may know, if you've been on the internet lately, you know about Jubilee and their debate style videos. Today we're gonna do that here for our special hot takes. I'm your host for this episode, Iain Bell. So without further ado, let's get started. My first hot take of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is Robert Griffin III, aka RG3, could have been a top 10 quarterback in the NFL had it not have been for his injury. Welcome. What is your name?
I'm Nick. Nice
to meet you, Nick.
So, when you say RG3 top 10, do you mean like in the 2000s, 2010s, like which era? Just in general?
2010, because he was drafted in 2013. So, yeah, I would see a nice 10-year to 7 years, because obviously like an ACL and also to an LCL injury, like obviously it's pretty severe for a mobile quarterback. But I feel like he has been. So what's your rebuttal?
I just think the 2010s was just stacked with too many legendary quarterbacks in order for like RG3 like push his way into like the top 10. So I mean, let's just go through it. Tom Brady, right. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. Even though those last
that's like 29. That's
those last 4 years.
Well, 28. He was in a backup. So like
I mean, 18 he was the MVP, and then 19 he won the Super Bowl.
Right.
So I still think those two accomplishments would have pushed him in those like 2-3 years, pushed him over RG3's entire career.
But I mean, I get what you're saying. But like even so, like you know, for example, Drew Brees, as you mentioned, like he won one Super Bowl and then obviously but carried on, and all of his like later stats came in that later year, obviously developed throughout a whole decade. So like obviously that's why I put him there. But again, I don't put him like top 5, but I put him top 10 because I think it's something to say, like if you're able to turn a franchise around like he did, because the Commanders, they were 5-11 at that point in time. They were the second worst team before the Colts, and then they went to a playoff game, and then they won pretty decently against the Legion of Boom. But it's even right before, they actually kicked off and became like the best defense in the NFL. But he turned it around, and with his stats of his rookie year, with a PR of 102.4 with 3,200 yards passing and 20 touchdowns with 5 picks before his injury. I mean, the potential was rising. And honestly, if we could put this in NBA terms for any basketball connoisseurs, honestly, I feel like he's Derrick Rose. Kind of like an MVP rising, and then of course, the ACL injury.
Right. I just think it's really hard just going off of 1 year just to say how like a quarterback can be projected, because like there have been those like scenarios where a quarterback has just really one good year and then it starts to decline. I mean, currently, I don't believe it, but like CJ Stroud, people thought he'd be on like an MVP level already, but now he's taking a few steps back. He's trying to get his footing again. But I just don't think you're able to predict someone could be a top 10, especially when you're going against like just like these legends like we talked about. Because like even like Cam Newton, I don't know if RG3's one season would have been better enough projected wise to be better than Cam Newton.
Right.
And then also you have like Phillip Rivers, Eli Mannings, people like that, people like legends and veterans who just sustained great success. I don't know if RG3 would have been able to push himself into that top 10.
Well, nobody had like faith in Drew Brees when he got that the shoulder injury back in San Diego. So I don't think it's safe to say that the just one injury just counting him out. But does anyone else like to talk? Because I don't know how I feel about this right now. Wow.
Well, thank you for the debate.
Of course, I like it. I like this. I like your perspective. Absolutely. All right. So the second one we got right here for basketball, as I mentioned basketball before, James Harden, although he has won MVP, in reality, he should actually won 4 MVPs. So he should have had 3 extra MVPs. I knew it. Nice to meet you.
What's up, man?
Daniel, correct? That's what they call you around here?
Daniel.
That's what I thought.
Open my basketball reference.
Begin. I mean, you're like, let me open my basketball reference. Like, you didn't even say like a hello. Like, you said Daniel.
Oh,
it was like nothing formal,
Daniel,
straight business.
Daniel. What is your stance? You didn't claim your stance.
Right, so of course, so with the, there was 3 other years where he could have won MVP. And we see, 2015, a solid year where he was a solid candidate, but more or less, 2017 was where he outnumbered Russell Westbrook, despite Russell Westbrook having the triple-double record. And then as well too, a lot of the majority of the stats in 2019 that he actually had like a lot more like leading stats over Giannis that year. So that's my claim. I want to hear yours, just to kind of get your perspective on this.
So my thing with the NBA MVP is that when it came to James Harden, it was always a narrative award, and the narrative always switched based on who he was competing against. In 2015, they said he didn't have the record, but he had the better numbers, and they gave it to Steph Curry. I honestly think that should have been his first MVP. 2016, I won't debate. That was a unanimous
That's
MVP.
unanimous. I gave it to.
Then we get to 2017, and suddenly it's not about the record, it's about the numbers. That's when they reward Russell Westbrook for that triple-double MVP, which to me in itself is just stupid, because it was like a 1 rebound difference. Had Harden averaged the next rebounder,
Right.
so he'd have averaged a triple-double on a much, much better team. And then it's when we get to 2018, he wins, but then that's the argument where LeBron had the better numbers, but that's when James really had kind of the combo of numbers and
Right.
record.
Averaging 40, as Stephen A would say.
That was the next year. That was the next year where he really should have won. That's where they gave it to Giannis. In my opinion, you can't average 40. You can't average 36 in a full season and not win MVP. The things he did, no other All-Star on his team. His second best player was Clint Capella. Clint Capella was the only guy like legitimately playing. Chris Paul was hurt the majority of the year, and he willed him. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think 2nd or 3rd seed. Willed him to the playoffs.
With 2017, I mean, we shouldn't, we should have a consistency within the NBA about how we reward players, because again, MVP stands for most valuable player, and of course there was so much value that James Harden always brought to the table. And yes, the triple-double reward that or record that Russell Westbrook had broken, once in a lifetime, of course. But I mean, are we not going to reward James Harden for his value that he brings and the consistency of the value that he had brought? I think it's what makes him stand out a lot more. I mean, that's why Michael Jordan, LeBron James are rewarded in a consistent basis, because they brought so much value all those years that they had played and they really shined out, is why I think we should give more recognition to James Harden.
I agree. It kind of seems like we're actually in agreement here.
Wow. I can end up like this. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. I can change your mind.
I wasn't arguing.
No. Yeah, you get down now. But here we go for the final one. This is going to be quite the controversial one for loads of people, with the big following that it is, with it being the biggest college in all of the state of Texas. As I like to speak on, this season alone, but as well as a broad majority, my last hot take is going to be that simply Texas A&M football is overrated. Spin move. Welcome. Would you identify yourself as a 12th man?
No, I am a UH Coug, repping all the way. Yahoo Coogs.
Okay. So, what is your rebuttal to just simply Texas A&M football is overrated?
Okay, look. Honestly, look, I understand, like, Texas A&M, like, I understand where you're coming from, because, like, Texas A&M, they've had all the good players, but they just can't seem over the hump. But, like, the thing is, how can you be overrated when nobody actually thinks you're overrated? Because we all know Texas A&M, even before the season, we all knew their limits. They were a good team. They would put up big wins, great stats. Good stats, but like everybody was like, oh no, we're not. They're not gonna end up being nothing. And as the season progresses, they just all multiple collapses, sudden losses out of nowhere. Then they probably get to a bowl game and then they lose that. So like, I don't think they're overrated. Because like, even before, like, no one had like huge expectations like, oh, they're gonna make it to a championship game. Like, I wouldn't say like they're overrated like that. They're like, hit their ceiling.
I mean, I do feel that, overall, obviously, from the perspective of them, the way they hype them, themselves up every offseason and whatnot, they act like they are going to be like Nick Saban and, a dynasty is going to like, form out. and yet they fall so short. The stereotype is like they're 8-4 and whatnot. But I mean, they do have national championships. Last one they had won was back in 1939 when World War II was, when World War II was still around, and we weren't even in World War II yet. Pearl Harbor didn't even started, so that's how unk status. That's how bad it was. But the way they hype themselves up, of course. I mean, I get the rivalry aspect of as Texas and everything, but the whole point of them moving to the SEC back when they were in the Big 12 was, of course, to get that spot. They felt like they could fit the shoes of national champions. Like, we are going to be the next Alabama, we are going to be the next Georgia. People should put fear and respect in our names. And 2012, I'll give it to them. As much as I hate the Texas A&M Aggies, 2012 is, I think, a mentality that they need to always have. I know they had other successful years, as with the success they had this year. They talked about 1992, 1993, where they did pretty well, but yet they lost, but yet they act like they won the national championship that year, which, no, they didn't. But 2012, obviously, Johnny Manziel was phenomenal, the first ever freshman Heisman Trophy winner. He beats the soon-to-be champs back in the BCS system, the Alabama Christmas Tide, in Bryant-Denton Stadium, and that game is super legendary. He's in the pocket, Johnny Manziel in the pocket, rolling out, throwing touchdowns left, right, and center. But then they go to New Year's Six Bowl, beat OU, which I checked that year, as they like to always rag on Texas. OU actually beat UT that year in the Red River, and they do everything that Texas was going to do. They did it all in the SEC, but then flopped down to 8-4, flopped down, then entered in the Jimbo Fisher era, where they just kind of like teetered out after him winning a national championship in Florida. I mean, and hearing all year long that they were going to win it, they're going to win the SEC, they're SEC favorites. Look what just happened, last Friday. Marcellus Reed, although I will commemorate him, and of course, I guess the only good thing I'll say about A&M is, Connor Wingman is pretty good. I think we can all say that right here.
Yes.
He's pretty decent. I know you have your.
He belongs to us now.
He has a, has a very stronger opinion of me about him. But of course, Marcellus Reed was good, but like, he didn't really ever had a Heisman I know he was the Heisman candidate, run, and good for him. But did he ever really have a moment? And the question clearly, as we saw, no. Some of my notes that I had right here was back when the South Carolina game just happened, which still makes me blood boil a little bit. He had 3 picks in one half, and then just now, last Friday, he just threw 2 big picks in the final minutes of the fourth quarter. Really, A&M needed to pull through in order to beat their rival UT, but unfortunately they were unsuccessful about it. And I just, again, I see the potential, what I hate to say that, I see the potential, but yet the follow through is the thing that I'm like, why are you guys hyping yourself up so much? It's kind of like Icarus, flying close to the sun, but then, the wings melt off and then fall off.
Yeah, I think when it comes to, people labeling, teams and athletes like overrated or underrated, it just comes down to perspective. Obviously, you have the fans' perspective, like they see all these shiny new toys, they have all this talent, all the coaching, of course, they're like, majority of fans, are casuals, so obviously they're going to be like, oh,
members too, actually, but that's the problem with terminology. But anyway.
But yeah, so obviously they're going to be like, oh yeah, this is our year. We're finally gonna do it. Like how Cowboys fans are.
Watch it. I'm realistic.
Yeah.
I'm realistic. I'm happy right now, but I'm realistic.
Yeah, you have those subsection of fans, okay, we know our limitations. Like this will be a good point to be at, but majority of fans are like that. But like that. So it just depends on your point of view, because a lot of people will just overhype to absurd levels, and others are the more reasonable side of sports.
But yet, I've yet to find like a centric A&M fan, so.
Yeah, they're usually hard to come by nowadays.
Definitely.
It's unfortunate. Like, whatever happened to, smart, unbiased sports journalism. Yeah.
That's the quote of the century, ladies and gentlemen. I like that. Well, thank you guys so much for watching for this special episode here on CoogsTalk for a special Jubilee video. My name is Iain Bell, and for all you Cougars, have a great semester and go Cougs.